Relatively recently in my life, I crossed off one of my big ticket items on my manifestation list, which was to find love, right? I currently have a girlfriend. We've been dating for some months now. It's serious. It's a really good thing. And like, I feel like there's so much fear and so much doubt that has left my body because these principles that, that I've adopted, these principles that I live by, finally prove themselves. I'm gonna be honest with you though. It took way too freaking long. Like, I understand. These things happen through divine timing. Once we place our order with the universe, once we place our order with God, once we place our order to whatever it is that you talk to, it's like it's up to them at that point. It's divine timing and it happens when it's supposed to. However, man, it took mad long. It took like 5, 6 years of staying consistent with this and keeping the faith alive, as we say, and it was a true test of my faith. But now that I've made it to the finish line, it's a beautiful story, you know? So first, let's talk about some of the fundamentals of manifestation, because I know I'm very inconsistent with talking about it, that, I always want to refresh people to make sure we're all on the same page, right? Listen, the thing that we are communicating with, this higher power, this higher level of intelligence, this higher force that we are communicating with when we are doing whatever method to bring manifestations into our life, has been called different names. God, the universe, the one mind, the higher self, the ethers, whatever it is that you are communicating with, we can all agree that we are communicating with some type of higher power that has the means and methods to bring whatever it is that we simply think about, what we speak about, into our physical world, right? So, with that being said, one of the main techniques is to visualize it as if it were already done. Speaking biblically, they say, pray believing ye have already received. Because once you talk to God, how many times do you have to remind him? Did God forget? Does God need a post-it note? Does God need a Microsoft, Outlook calendar update? No, God don't need to be reminded. He heard you the first time, so let it rock. Now, within the school of manifestation and law of attraction, there's two different schools of thought. There's to place your order and forget about it and leave it alone. And then there's the ones that say constantly keep affirming it over and over. Walk as if. Keep it in your mind that it's already done. So both of them are effective. And I think that I merged both of these schools of thought throughout the course of this manifestation coming to pass. And like I said, it's place your order, the bridge of incident, which is a series of life events that bring you to your end goal, and then your manifestation. So let's talk about the story of me manifesting love, right? And you can see it throughout my channel. There's certain times where I was getting lonely and I transmuted that into a video to make it, this is something that I'm doing in the meantime, waiting for my manifestations. But one of the things I found interesting was, I can almost guarantee it. One day my girl's gonna be watching my videos, shaking her head and stuff, and that's exactly what happened. My girl watches my religious videos, she's like, why do you have to say that? Oh, I don't, But nevertheless, everything I said all those years ago came to pass exactly as I said it, just in a way that even I wasn't ready for. So let's talk about it. I see myself always holding my girl's hand. I see myself teaching my girl stuff. I see myself, she's already here in my place. I'm talking to her, we're eating together, we're laughing together, we're doing all these things. This implies that I not only have a girlfriend, but we have a healthy, beautiful relationship that fills my heart with light and love, right? This is before I actually has a girlfriend. This is me, what I'm doing in my room when I'm just thinking to myself and meditating on what it is I want to bring into my life. Then the bridge of incident begins. So a lot of people think that there's going to be these cataclysmic movements in your life. It can be, or it could be a series of very almost seemingly insignificant things that get you to where you want to be. So for me personally, when I began manifesting, what I wanted to learn was all the different techniques, which was one step in the grand scheme. Now that I've learned all the techniques, let's practice them. Let's play with them. Okay, cool. But then when I get frustrated and things are taking too long for my little earthly brain to fathom, then I start doing research into relationships. And as you've seen, like throughout my history, even though I say you're taking advice, dating advice from a whole bunch of single people, I was single, but yet I still think I have enough wisdom to say some things that are helpful for people. But nevertheless, I was learning about relationships. I was seeing the flaws in people's minds, especially the young people's dating habits and stuff. And I started putting these things together. Then I started to, take accountability for myself. What do I need to improve on? What do I need to work on? What can I do right now to prepare for this thing that I know that the universe universe that God has already set in motion for me to experience, right? What do I need to do? How do I prepare for it? Because even preparation is still faith that you've been heard by some type of higher power, right? So I'm doing all this, and this is years and years. Each year that goes by, I get a little bit more depressed. I get a little bit more nervous. We hit year 3, 4, 5, and it's just like, did my package get lost in transit? Like, what's going on? I start getting mad. I start getting angry. But this is also why I'm so big into my religious studies, because I always take personal accountability for everything, even if some things are outside of my control. It's just there's something that I'm doing in my mind that is making me manifest this physical world that looks in the way that I don't want it to be. So what do I need to change? So that's why I got deeper into my religious studies. I wanted to hear what what Buddha was saying. I wanted to hear what Jesus was saying. I wanted to hear what Malachi York was saying. I wanted to hear what William Donahue was saying. I wanted to hear all these things because there's something I'm not doing right, and then through these applications, this is why I learned so much about what Jesus was saying. So all these things that he was saying, I start to implement. This is just my little route with things. All of them seem very insignificant to manifesting love. But in my story, that's exactly what happened, because then moving forward to the actual things that happened that had to come into place, not only did I have to open my mind to being loved, I had to learn to love myself. Before you can love somebody else, you have to love yourself. This was the lesson that I taught, that was taught to me beforehand by just life itself, right? But then, what started to happen was I started to let go, and I shit you not, the same weekend that I was completely ready to just give up and take I was really about to go down the left-hand path. For those of you, if you know, I was about to go the other way, because clearly this ain't working. I can't wait around 5, 6 more years for my manifestation. I'm going this way. And that was one of my final challenges to God. I was like, all right, God, you see what I'm finna do. You see the books I'm buying. You see what I'm about to get into. If I ain't supposed to do this, show me something. I need to see it, God. I tested God. I challenged God, and not even a couple days later, that same weekend, things got set into motion. It's like, okay, he's ready. So what had happened was, it took a little bit of foreshadowing. It took a worldwide outage to bring me back to my girl. Do you understand that? Now, of course, this doesn't happen specifically for me. I'm just saying this is the life events that got me, the seemingly insignificant, unrelated event that got me to my end goal. You see, because I was about to give up, I shake my fist at God, I challenged him. And then this happened to be the same time that my parents visited, right? So my parents visit, we go to the market, and then, I find my mom in one of the booth that my girlfriend was working at the time. So I walked in there and I seen her. And when I seen that girl, it looked like she was standing in a spotlight. She glowed to me. She shined to me. And I was like, ooh, my cold, hard heart feel a little, I felt like the Grinch. And on that day, his heart grew 3 sizes. That's what it felt like. But I was like, okay, all right. And then we was chopping up. I liked her voice. I liked her eyes. I liked everything about it. Hi. What I'm saying? I liked everything about it. But I was like, okay. But I move in silence. Real G's move in silence like lasagna. Shout out to Lil Wayne. But it's just I didn't want to do that with my parents around. You know what I'm saying? So I'll holler at them when they leave. So I was starting to put it in my mind of how I was going to ask this girl out and all this type of stuff. My mom found out she was single and all this type of stuff. So I was like, bet, here it is, But then what happened again was the outage happened, right? That Microsoft hack where all the planes were grounded, everything Microsoft related wasn't working and all that type of stuff. All that happened. So then my parents were back again. And then I got to see her again, and then almost validated that I saw her again. And I felt that the little tingle in my heart. I was like, okay, this girl is something serious. All right, God, this is how you doing it? This is the exact conversation I had with myself. I said, this is how you doing it, God? All right. It's like I had to challenge you. I had to scare you a little bit to give me what I want. But it's all right, cool. Good looking out, God. So then my parents were stuck here again because their flight was grounded. So we went to the farmer's market. We saw her again. Cool. So they finally leave. And I was like, okay, next weekend, it's that time. Fast forward, I had my preparations. I had everything set. By bing, bada boom. We started talking. Now we're dating. Yay. You know what I'm saying? But look at that. It took all these weird things, all these little pieces, all these priming yourself. It's like, I forget, I believe it was in that, I forgot. It's like that big red book. I forgot what it's called. I can see it, but I forgot the title of it. But basically, it was just saying, before you can manifest anything in this world, you must first match the frequency of it. So you sent from the ground level, let's just say this, from the ground level, you sent your order up to the universe. You sent your order up to God. You sent your order up to whoever it is that you pray to, whatever it is that you talk to, whatever, right? Even if you did a ritual or a spell, you're operating with the higher forces, right? Okay. So you sent your order up. Now for that message that they are sending to reach you, you have to be open to hearing it. You have to be open to receiving it. So if the order is being sent to you, but you're not matching the frequency, life itself would move some things around or put ideas in your mind or take away people, give you people, whatever, to get you to the final frequency that you need so the order can finally get through. Right? So that's why the first part of it was me learning about relationships, learning about myself, not looking about what I could take from a relationship, but what I can give to a relationship. I'm not too big on like the horoscopes and stuff, but I am a Cancer. I'm a giver. I'm also Cancer and Gemini cusp. So I'm a yapper too, air sign and the givingness of the Cancer, all that type of stuff. But nevertheless, I had to learn more about myself before I was actually prepared for a relationship. You see? And then all the series of events, my parents had to travel from literally damn near, well, yeah, actually from across the country, from the East Coast all the way to Central America, well, Middle America, Colorado, for me to meet this girl who was right across the street from me this entire time. But you see all the series of events that had to happen for this to transpire. This is why you have to keep the faith. This is why you can't be like, oh, I'm ignored. God doesn't love me. The universe doesn't work for me. This stuff doesn't work for me. No, it's working on you the second you place your order. And that's why you have to keep the faith until that thing comes into fruition. Let me know if you have any questions. I can feel free to break it down more, but that's it for this one. Till the next one. Peace.